My name is Lauren, and this is my husband, Anthony, and we've been married for about 8 months now.
Where do you want me to start it? You're not really. Lauren is my very first girlfriend. Was the first girl I kissed, the only one I plan on ever kissing.
Praise the Lord.
My life when I was growing up, much of my foundational things were really solid. The romantic side of my life, that was a part that honestly was a struggle for me. Okay, there's a lot of times where I'd question God, like, hey, why don't you have someone in my life? I felt like I had lived my life like He wanted me to. I tried to follow exactly what He wanted, but I didn't have that someone in my life. I mean, I think back to like Paul and his talk on the gift of singleness. And many times there'd be times like, okay, God, I don't like it, but if this is what you got for me, okay, like fine. But then through special circumstances, Lauren got brought into my life. Having to date long distance wasn't super fun.
On Fridays, he would come up, and Mondays, I'd go down to see him, and so it made it challenging, and COVID didn't make it any easier for us. There was a time where I think we went a month without seeing each other. And so we're like, hey, we know we're getting married. It's not gonna look the same that we wanted it to, but let's just do it. And so we actually got married in a small intimate setting with just our immediate family.
Yeah, I mean, we originally got plans to be married in June. And then with everything happening, and I started working remotely, and it was like, well, why don't we just get married a little sooner? Like, why do we need to wait? We're not gonna have our big wedding like we wanted to. So got married early, and probably the best decision we'd ever made.
I knew that I loved this church, True Grace, and he knew how much I loved it. And so he was like, hey, I'm gonna move up to you. And
obviously it's not easy leaving behind all the friends and the community you've created, but I found it to be one of the easiest decisions to make, just because I knew what I was going into. Also, it was helpful with all the mildly veiled threats I got about taking Lauren away from True Grace.
Moving up, he didn't have a job right away, and with COVID, it didn't make it easier to find a job. And so for the first couple months, he's like, hey, I'm gonna get my master's. I
got a position teaching 8th grade language arts at Tumwater Middle School. Take over for a lady who was going out on maternity leave. It was a really big blessing. Like, I didn't expect that to happen at all, just because of the pandemic and everything. Schools don't know what's going on. And then ironically then, I took over a job for someone who's going out on maternity leave, and then Lauren got pregnant. So yeah, it's just a lot of awesome things happening in the midst of all the craziness of the world right now.